Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bible Study Minute. Today we're taking a look at Judges chapter 6 and 7. And in these chapters, we're introduced to the judge Gideon. And once again, Israel has spiraled into disobedience and doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord. And in response, God hands them over to the hand of the Midianites. But after crying out to the Lord, after some years of being oppressed, God finally decides that it's time to deliver them. And he does this by the hand of Gideon. And what we first see here when we're introduced to Gideon is someone who is in the wine press threshing wheat. And this is something that is not normally done. And he's basically doubling his labor by doing it this way because he's afraid of being caught by the Midianites. And then the angel of the Lord comes to him and basically lets him know that he's going to deliver Israel. And Gideon's just kind of like, you know what? I've heard about this God that has delivered Israel from Egypt and done all these great things. Where is he? And once he was told that he's going to be the one to deliver him, to deliver Israel, the angel of the Lord just kind of tells him that this is what's going to happen. Gideon's like, me? Nah. Have you seen me? And then the angel of the Lord continues to encourage him, letting him know that he's with him. He's going to be with him along the way to do this. And Gideon finally is like, all right, you give me enough signs to where I trust you. And then God tells him to go tear down the altars for the idols that are in the town. And Gideon is once again afraid. And we see him, instead of doing this in broad daylight, he takes 10 servants with him and does this in the middle of the night. And of course, people find out that it is Gideon, and we see the results that happen there. But then it's time to defeat the Midianites. And Gideon's just kind of like, God, if this is me, then can you do this for me? And he tests God twice, asking him for a sign. Of course, God answers him, which is something that we should not necessarily do in testing God and asking him for signs like this. But in this instance, God obliged Gideon and helped him build up his faith. And what we see here is that God answered, and then he had this huge army amassed, and I was like, nah, you're not taking all these guys into battle, because I want people to know that I am the one delivering Israel and not Israel themselves that have delivered themselves. So through a series of events, God dwindles down the army from like 20,000 down to 300 men. And God uses these 300 men and Gideon to deliver the people of Israel from the Midianites. And what we eventually see here is that God is the one at work in the midst of all this. And even though Gideon is someone who is constantly afraid, constantly questioning the Lord, we do see him walking in obedience to the Lord's commands. And that's the one thing that we need to remember and apply for ourselves, is that even though the path before us that God might give us seems difficult and hard, we need to still walk in obedience to what he has called us to. And that's kind of the one thing that we see different between Gideon and Barak that we just took a look at last time in Judges chapter 4, where he was willing to take a woman into battle with him. Gideon's like, I don't know, God, but you told me to do this, so I'm still going to do it anyway. So that's the difference that we see in these two judges. And that's what I want you to remember, is that even if God calls you to do something and you're hesitant and it seems hard, still go forward with it, trusting that God is the one that's going to go with you and be with you in the midst of those things. And then ultimately remember that in the situations, God is the one that's in controlling the situation. So that's all I got for now. Until next time, grace and peace.